If you ain't a gator, you must be gator bait. If you ain't a gator, you must be gator bait.
Welcome back and welcome in. I am so hyped to do this one. Me and Dave have been trying to set this up for probably about 2.5, 3 weeks now. So I'm glad that this is actually finally happening. He is on his way. He let me know that he had to do an update to the computer, and that takes a little bit. So if you're here, throw me some comments, throw me some questions. Don't forget, we got the giveaway. It is coming next Sunday. I am doing the official on the actual live. We're going to do the official giveaway. So you have till next Sunday. So if you don't do it, sorry, you didn't get in. But next Sunday is the giveaway. So make sure you get to it. You know what to do. Follow the social medias, comment done, subscribe here. And if you tag a Gator fan that isn't already following, then you will get you'll get an extra entry into the giveaway. So yeah, throw me some questions real quick. Excited to do this. Let me see. Let me get this set up. Let me see. I'll actually tell y'all a little bit about what I've been seeing from fall camp. We're going to get Dave's opinion when he gets in here. But from what I've been seeing, that boy Aiden Warner, he can sling the rock a little bit. I think we might have – he ain't no DJ. Listen, let me get that out there right now. He is no DJ, but that boy can sling the rock. And I think that we might have jumped the gun on – how harsh we were on him. And I think that kind of plays into Billy being able to do well with what's up, my boy? How we doing? No, but I feel like I'm not saying Aiden Warner is going to come in and lead us to the playoffs or lead us to, the national championship, but that man looks good. I mean, the pass was a little wobbly to VB3, well, now VB8, but that's all right. He got it there, and that boy Vernell Brown looks nasty, real nasty. I can't wait. I cannot wait. These next couple weeks. There we go. Let me get you in here. Hang on just a second.
There he is.
How we doing?
Oh, I guess top of the afternoon to everybody. It's not morning time anymore. Yeah, just grab my morning breakfast. I'm ready to go, man. Let's talk some Gator football.
Man, I'm so ready. We were just talking a little bit on here about that. I don't think that that Aiden Warner is going to be a DJ, obviously, but it looks like he can sling the rock around a little bit. Yeah, how are we feeling about it?
Heard he can spin it, right?
Yeah.
No, coming out of practices and all that, especially if you look at the videos that I guess they post, the video packages that they post on X and all that. I mean, he looks a lot better than he did last year.
Right.
Practice can be deceiving in certain ways. You don't know if he's up against twos or threes or anything else like that. But at the end of the day, I think Nick makes a good point when Delatorre had said, hey, look, he can spin it. I think when he gets time in the pocket and he can really progress through his throw and step into it, I think he really can sling a good football. I think the issue, what I saw last year with Aiden Warner is when he was pressured and he had to roll out of the pocket, you didn't really get a good clean pass out of there. Maybe it would hop 10 yards, maybe 15, something like that, as opposed to somebody like Lagway. You're coming in, obviously a kid that was a top prospect, a 5-star. He throws off his back foot and it sails like 50, 60 yards down the field.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the big difference in between, like, I guess a 2-star or whatever you want to call whatever Aiden Warner was and a 5-star DJ Lagway is you get that skill set. Now, does that skill set mean necessarily that you're going to project into a first-round draft pick or an elite quarterback? No, it's all about decision-making, accuracy, and all sorts of other things. But the intangibles you get with Lagway is vastly different than you get from a lot of quarterbacks in the SEC. So I don't think it's fair to like compare Aiden Warner to DJ Lagway because we know the comparisons when it comes to the intangibles is different. But I also think that Aiden Warner has taken a step forward. so far as practice goes, and we'll see, I guess, in the next 2.5 weeks to see where the progressions have, went down the road, especially with him competing with Harrison Bailey.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you've heard anything about that, because I fully believed that when they brought Harrison Bailey in, I was like, oh, he's got to be the 2.
Yeah.
Has to be. Like, I fully believed it. I thought, because he can run, I was like, okay, he fits kind of what Billy likes to do, with a mobile quarterback, things like that. But then as time kept going on, I kept seeing on X that, hey, don't be shocked when you see Aiden, at the number 2 spot. Is it that Harrison just can't pick up on the playbook? What have you heard about that? Because I haven't heard really anything.
I think it goes by more experience in the system at Florida. I think Aiden Warner, obviously, he's been in this system for longer than Harrison Bailey. He's been at Florida longer than Harrison Bailey has, coming in from the transfer portal. But you go look at Harrison Bailey and his body of work. I mean, he was at Tennessee, he was at Louisville, now he's here. He's been in college for a long time. He's very long time. I don't know if he's gonna be one of those 30-year-old quarterbacks or something down the road.
Yeah.
But he does have a lot of college experience. I mean, you go back to the bowl game. He won the offensive MVP of that at Louisville before he had transferred over here to Florida. You go to the spring game, he threw for 363, 3 touchdowns, and everybody's looking at it like, oh my God, and Harrison Bailey can spin it too,
Right?
And Warner can. I think that there's different intangibles with both. Obviously, you get a stronger arm out of Harrison Bailey. You get a little bit more of a college experience, I guess. But as far as Aiden Warner, you get more of experience here at Florida with Billy Napier, with the staff. So I think, that competition between Aiden Warner and Harrison Bailey is only going to heat up as the weeks come on. And it's only going to make either one of them better. I personally, I would rather the best quarterback be on the field. I for sure thought it was going to be Harrison Bailey when he came in from the transfer portal, just because of where he was ranked in high school, what he's done so far in college. He's a little bit more experienced at a college level. But, I mean, if Aiden Warner's playing better than him in practice and he looks a lot better and he looks the part, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to having him at number 2 or vice versa with Harrison Bailey or Aiden Warner either.
Yeah, I think the big thing, as you said, is just I want best players on the field at all times. I don't care, stars go away, all these different things go away, but the biggest thing is I want the best players, whether it be freshmen or could end up being seventh year players. But I want the best player on the field at all times, because I just kind of get tired of that. It did feel a lot like with him with the running backs, with Billy with the running backs. I felt like it was like, well, this is my guy, and I'm going to just, fight tooth and nail until it works. And I can't do it. I can't do it this year.
You see some of that in Napier. Like, he will kind of, I hate to say the word favor really, but I mean, let's just say favor for example. It's not what he's really doing, but say like he favors a certain running back. Like Montrell Johnson was coming in there for the majority of the snaps last year until he got hurt. Then you had in Jaden Ball, and a lot of the fans were just like, man, we want to see Ball more. He makes more plays, whatever. It's really, I think Napier, what he does is he tries to start who he thinks should start. But then if he starts seeing something out of somebody else, he starts playing them more, giving them more reps. Like Jaden Ball, we saw him come on really late in the season. Now that was because of injury, but you also seen him starting to get more reps over Montrell Johnson a little bit more in some of these games down the road. And then you see Jacoby Jackson come in, and he's making plays against Georgia and teams that you wouldn't think he'd be making plays against, like Texas and all that. I knew we got blown out, but Jacoby Jackson made plays in that game. Right. I think that Billy Napier's eye for talent is really good. I think he's a good evaluator, but I also think he's not dumb. I mean, if somebody's performing the way that they should, they're going to get more reps and they're going to get more snaps. This isn't a, Dan Mullen, let's give Damian George six running back snaps a game. It's going to be like, hey, it'll be 6, then it's going to build to 10, then 12, then 14, and so on and so forth. So I think Billy's really good at that, is slowly just progressing somebody that's doing really, really well, even if they're young, and giving them a shot. We saw it when he got here in 2021 with Trevor Etienne. I mean, he literally gave a true freshman snaps against Utah in the first game of the season, and he got quite a bit, and he was making plays. So I think that's one of the things that I do like about Billy's. He's not afraid to shy away from somebody that's playing maybe better than the projected starter or anything like that, but he does slowly give them more reps. And I think I think it's more commendable for a coach to do that, because at least he shows that he sees that you're progressing and you're making plays. On top of that, it shows that you really want to win too.
Right. Yeah. See, my thing is too, when it comes, they're talking about Tramel Jones when it
Yeah.
comes to quarterback. I've been seeing, major things about him too, that he's slinging it around. I think we got a real good problem on our hands. We got a pretty deep quarterback class. I just think that these players got to come in. I don't know what Billy's playbook actually looks like. I don't know how deep it goes, but I do know, I've talked about this prior times. When he was at Louisiana, he always excelled with a mobile quarterback. And I think that we do have a great room. I don't know how much Aiden Warner can move around. I haven't really
Run it.
seen him run a lot, but I want to see it, but I know that Harrison Bailey can. That's the biggest thing. But I think that people are seeing, okay, the clip that came out with Vernell Brown catching the touchdown, right?
Yeah.
People see in the background, they see Napier with the headset on. I've been seeing people kind of saying stuff about it because of him calling plays. But I think you're going to see a step up with him being able to run. And I think that if Aiden Warner can be able to move, I just never understood the Graham Mertz thing. And I think people are giving Billy a hard time on his play calling when really they should be looking at like, well, why did you bring in Mertz in the first place? You know what I mean? Because he's not a mobile quarterback. So I'm just curious about how I don't know. I want to see what his play calling does under a full season of DJ.
Yeah, I mean, in this offense, the RPO offense that he runs, the prototypical quarterback for an RPO offense is a dual threat quarterback.
Right.
And you had that your first year with Anthony Richardson. Unfortunately, it wasn't a quarterback you necessarily recruited. So you kind of inherited Anthony Richardson. Now, he could have went into the portal and things could have changed and all that, but Richardson had the intangibles of what Billy Napier wanted in his offense. And he brought him in. Unfortunately, he wasn't the most accurate quarterback throwing the football, but he was very athletic, as we all saw. You look at Lagway and you look at the Mertz situation, and obviously you bring in a guy that you look at the year before, 2023. A lot of those games that we lost were very close, could have went either way. Didn't at the end. You go to that Missouri game, and there's just so many of them I can name right now. You still lost them. It still counts as a loss. But, you go into next season saying, okay, well, with another year under the belt, can Graham Mertz take that next step? Can we pull off these close games? Then you have that week one blunder where it was just you're scratching your head, especially when you look at Miami at the end of the season, who didn't really have the best defense at all. I think their defense was ranked third or second to last in college football. Now, their offense was top 5. So that made up for a lot of it. But you only score 17 points against that defense. And you're sitting there scratching your head like, how did we only score 17? And you're going into these later games, and you always want to put trust in the leader of your quarterback room. And I think that I guess that documentary on Netflix that came out a little bit ago with the SEC and Saturday, it kind of delves into that a little bit.
Right.
And you always want to have that leader, but everybody knows, and I'm pretty sure Napier knew in the back of his head that's like, hey, look, I've got a number 1 5-star quarterback that's literally broken high school records, won every award you could win in high school, including the high school Heisman, the Bobby Dodd Back Trophy. And, he's sitting there and he's gaining experience. And the college game is very different from high school. And freshmen are going to make mistakes. They're going to turn over the football.
Right.
And I'm sure he's looking at that, but he's like, look, I can't take my leader off the field. And I think that veteran presence and everything, and being a veteran in that offense, allowed for Graham Mertz to stay there and let Lagway come in. And now you've seen what I was talking about earlier. He let Lagway come in for some series when Graham Mertz was the starter. And when Lagway came in for some series, he showed out. That UCF, that clutch pass he had the UCF game that was like 3 yards from the end zone, could have been a touchdown. I could name 10 other plays, the Tennessee play in overtime. I mean, you see sparks of where Lagway can be an elite and a great quarterback.
Right.
It's just that he is young. He's not experienced in this offense. And I think that's why Napier kind of just trying to bring him in, kind of try to get him to used to the offense while Mertz was playing. Now, unfortunately, he went down, so we got to see Lagway the rest of the season down the stretch, and Florida did not lose a game that he started and played all the way through. And, that's going to solidify you pretty much as the starter next year. Right.
It's crazy. I bring up the pass at Tennessee a lot, the one that he threw to Shamir DK, and I think that's my telltale right there. When
Not
it comes
a lot of
to
quarterbacks
Lagway.
can make that throw.
Right. And make that throw at night in that environment. I just watching it back. I mean, obviously watching it in the moment, you're not really taking in what the what it actually was. But being a fan, of the Gators, watching the Gators play in Neyland Stadium every other year for my whole life, how loud it gets there. And then especially when they have a team like they had last year, that the playoff hopes, the national championship hopes last year, and DJ goes in there, and I mean he wasn't expecting to come in and be like, okay, now I have to be the guy. Because I've talked about this a lot with the Arch Manning kind of energy that's going on, or like whatever it is around him. Whereas last year, I feel like, and it was the same thing with Lagway in the beginning of the year. I think when they came in, they were like, okay, I know that if I screw up here or if I'm not playing well, they're just going to switch us out. Mertz is going to come in. I'm going to go get a breather. Well, it's like, not this year.
Yeah.
Not this year. But the big thing is that we got to see Lagway with the throws to Shamir DK. The plays in the Ole Miss game where he's, got two grown men on top of him and he's still completing passes down there. That's the stuff that you can't teach.
Right.
And that's the stuff I'm excited for. That's where I'm like, I guess I don't have the same feeling as a lot of others about the play calling this year and kind of the panic that they're having. Because I also believe that DJ can outplay bad play calling.
Yeah, I mean, like a good quarterback, somebody that's like just a savant, like a Will Greer, you could stick in pretty much almost any college offense, and it's going to look better than what it should be as advertised. I think Lagway has those intangibles. I think the biggest thing that jumps off the charts with me was Lagway is his accuracy. Like his football accuracy, especially on the deep balls, like hardly any of them are overthrown or underthrown. They're right on target. Even the 20-yard passes, the 30-yard passes. I mean, the most impressive game I seen out of him where he could not run was LSU. I mean, he's getting pressured. They're bringing blitzes. He's getting rid of the football. He's dumping it off to where, he can get first downs. You look at the I think one of the passes that really jumped off to me in that game. I know that there was the one into the end zone where he's kind of pressured, and then the guy's name's leaving, not DK, but Elijah Badger. He passes it to him into the end zone, the first touchdown of the game. The one that stuck out to me was the one that he had to Hayden Hansen when he's getting severely pressured, and literally right off the whip flips it to Hayden Hansen for like a 20-yard pass. And I think that's what separates him from like some other quarterbacks, is the fact that, like, if he can't move, he's got to sit in the pocket. He can make those quick decisions. And I think that was missing, and that goes missing from a lot of quarterbacks. Now, can you do that on a consistent basis in the offense and learning it for a year, getting more familiarity with the receivers and the pieces around you? I think that's what's going to really separate him from a lot of quarterbacks this year, if he can put that together. I think some of his intermediate routes, he needs to work on a little bit more of the accuracy with, I think he throws it a little bit too high, not too much too high, but like a little bit too high on his intermediate routes. But I've seen him throw some intermediate ones that have went right on the money. I mean, you go back to that Miami game where I think he threw like two slants to Eugene Wilson for like 10, 15 yards. Those are the little things that I want to see improve just a little bit. I'm not saying, and that's just me nitpicking, I'm not saying that he is the worst at it. I've seen Anthony Richardson try to throw a slant. So I think everybody else don't want to see that anymore.
A million miles per hour.
I think if Lagway just works on the little things and the explosiveness you get out of him is fine. We've seen it. I think his PFF numbers on deep passes is like a 96.7 grade or something like that. It's unreal. I think the deep shots that he takes down the field are accurate, right on the money. I want to see more of the 10, 5, 20-yard passes. Like, hey, when you get pressured, where's that ball going? Is it going out of bounds? I don't think I've ever seen him throw it out of bounds when he's been pressured. That leads to interceptions sometimes. But there's just little things I think Lagway needs to work on. But like the bigger things, like getting the ball down the field, making explosive plays, like he has been just clutch in those moments. And I think that is what really has helped Florida through these games. Obviously, the defensive line and the defense has helped them through games as well. We all know about how it looked at the beginning of the year, towards the end of the year. But I think that really, if Lagway can put it all together and manage a game and make explosive plays, I think this offense can take a really big step. And I think, somebody had actually posted a stat that said, well, when Lagway was in the game, when he started those 6 games, Florida averaged 34 points per game. if Florida can average 34 points per game and the defense can play like it did the last 6 games of the season, Florida's going to win a lot of games this year.
A lot of games. And, I've been very big on this because when you look at, everyone wants to bring up Lagway's interceptions. I mean, that's like any rival fan, whatever, they want to bring that up. The media kind of brings it up. Again, you touched on it. He was a true freshman playing in the SEC. That's number one. If we're not acknowledging that, because obviously the media is trying to get it off. The rivals are trying to get their troll off. But I'm like, he's a true freshman that every game that he started and finished, he won. And I'm going to tell you what, he can throw 15 interceptions in a game. If at the end of that game, we win the game, I don't care. I don't care how many interceptions he throws. If the end result is we win, then guess what? You got a lot more problems on your hand as the rival team that lost to the quarterback that threw 15 interceptions. I guess I just don't understand. And I get it. They love to nitpick. They got to find something because that's what you do when you have fear, in you. You try to find something to kind of, coddle to and rest to, but it's all right. Miami is going to get smacked. Florida State, they're obviously going to get smacked. So
I always have a saying that says box scores are for basic fans.
Exactly. That's a perfect saying.
It's like
they love to nitpick.
I mean, you go to some of the great quarterbacks even in the NFL. I mean, look at your Brett Favre, who would throw 20 interceptions a game, but he's got 2 Super Bowl rings. I think he's got more than that. I'm not the biggest NFL expert, but I know he's got some Super Bowl rings.
Yeah, I'm a Packers fan, so I remember it. Trust me. Yeah, I definitely remember it.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of quarterbacks that have thrown plenty of turnovers, especially in the NFL, but they've also led their team to victory. And I think, with Florida, the way that with everything that they're returning on this defensive line, I think that's going to help out the defense in the backfield, also help out the offense as well. Hopefully you can get a lot of short fields, get some turnovers, and that can lead to points, either 3, 7 points, and hopefully swing a game down the stretch. And we also got to think that look at the wide receiver core that Lagway has to throw to. I mean, this is probably the best, most talented wide receiver core we've had since 2018 with Tyree Cleveland and Van Jefferson and Grimes and Kadarius Toney, those big names. But I think it's even a step further than what we had in 2018. I'm not going to say it's the Percy Harvins or anything else like that we had in 08, but it's there. It's getting up there to that point and that momentum. And I think it's funny because I told somebody, it's funny how when Billy Gonzalez was here with Mullen, he couldn't recruit a wide receiver to save his life, but he's here with Danger, and all of a sudden now he can recruit again. It makes the world of difference. So yeah, I think Florida with their wide receiver core, with the defense, I could care less. I'm the same way. If Lagway throws 20 interceptions, but he throws for 45, 50 touchdowns, I don't think anybody's going to complain.
No one's going to complain. And I think that the receiver room it's crazy to me because I understand we have this new shiny toy in Dallas Wilson that's there.
Yeah.
But the receivers that aren't even being talked about that much, because obviously now he's got the leg injury. I get it. But I'm like, y'all don't even understand. Do we want him out there? Of course. I hope no one mistakes me saying that for saying that we'll be fine if he's not out there. No, we'll just be that much better if he's out there. But J. Michael being out there. Obviously, Vernell Brown right now is showing that he can, do massive things. I think that Nashawn Montgomery is going to be massive. He's my biggest sleeper of the receiver room. I think that people don't even fully know his name yet, but I've watched him play in person a couple of times, and he is the real deal. And when he finally gets to display that, and I think a lot of people also don't understand that this receiver room, what you're seeing right now with how good they are, that's not even our best quarterback throwing to them yet.
Yeah.
What are they going to do when that best quarterback? I'm drinking the Kool-Aid so bad. I'm either I'm setting myself up for the biggest letdown ever, or I'm going to be completely obnoxious when it comes to social media.
Yeah, well, you hope there's not a lot of injuries. I think that's the biggest thing that I've looked at when you look at the roster and you look at the schedule. The biggest thing that's going to set out to you is injuries. Can we stay mostly healthy at certain positions? I think cornerback, you have to stay healthy at. I think there's, I'm not going to say that the skill level there at cornerback is bad. I'm just going to say like the personnel is probably a little bit more thinner than other positions on the team.
Right.
Obviously, you have safety with Jordan Castell. You got a lot of young guys behind him. I think those two positions need to primarily stay healthy the most. You can probably afford some injuries, maybe D-line wise, O-line wise. Can't afford an injury at quarterback. That's going to change a lot of things. As far as running back, I think we're pretty good there. If somebody was to be out for a few games, you're fine there. Linebacker looks good from a skill level standpoint. Pup Howard, you got Miles Graham that's coming in here already making veteran plays. How has he progressed? I think every other skill position that you have, I mean, with the exception, if you look at Stars tight end, we know how they use tight ends in the system. It's not a very pass heavy tight end system. It's more of a block heavy with the run
Right.
schemes and everything that they run. I think overall for the offense that you do run and for what Billy Napier runs, I think overall at a skill level standpoint, you've got the pieces there. Now it's just time to go out there and prove it to the fans and say, look, I've got all these elite players on at wide receiver. I got these tight ends that can block in 2 tight end sets or whatever we run out there with Jaden Ball, Jacoby Jackson. I got Lagway at quarterback. Now it's time to put it together and show everybody like, hey, this is Billy Napier's year 4. This is what I wanted out of my offense. These are my players I recruited. Now let's go out here and win games.
Right. And the defense, see, you said something too about the getting turnovers and getting a short field. That's a big thing I've talked about for the last, I mean, even in Mullen seasons. Like I was like, we're just not getting turnovers and every time we're getting the ball back, it's even if we're getting it punted to us, we are having to go the distance of the field. And that's the part where it's you got it. And this D line will do that. I don't care. You can timestamp this and we can talk about it, come December, January, whenever you want to. But this regular season, this D line is going to disrupt quarterbacks. They're going to put them into bad positions. And I truly think that it's going to, again, like you said, as long as the corners can stay healthy, because that is it's thin, but they have shown too that they can bring safeties down and, put them into the nickel and kind of make them hybrids. I really feel like there's going to be a lot of turnovers this year. I really think that you're going to see the DBs get back to what, from when I was younger, I remember DBs flying around, Reggie Nelson's getting interceptions, Joe Hayden, that's what you're going to see. I fully believe it. I don't know, again, if that's just the preseason hype, but I just believe that the D-line is going to be so disruptive and they're not going to throw the ball throw it away every time. They're going to try to put the ball in the air and you're going to see interceptions. They just have to have, I just feel like we haven't really had any DBs that really got a swagger to them. And I think we finally got it. I think that the Tyreek Sapps, the George Gums, I think they're creating a swagger on the defense. Like they they believe in their own hype now.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is just confidence in your players. I think that was lacking a lot in week 1 all the way till I think around the Tennessee or Kentucky game. We've had numerous players come on our show defensively that have talked about, week 1 going into, I think it was like week 5. I think one of the defensive players I remember that was on our show had said that it was either the Kentucky game or it was right after the Tennessee game where everybody really got together and they got with the coach and said, hey, look, can we simplify some things? It's a little bit too complicated. And Napier went ahead and went with the idea. He simplified them, let them play defense more. And I think when that turnaround came is when you really started to see the turnaround on defense. And then the defense started making plays. I just pulled up the stat last year in all games. Florida, had a 0.46 average turnover margin. In wins, they had a 1.38. In losses, they had a -1. And what was really, what really came off to me is at home, they only had a 0.29 turnover margin, and on a neutral site or away, it was 0.6. So they actually created more turnovers when they were away. On top of that, when they had wins, they were +1 or 1+ over in the turnover margin. And I think that, with the defensive players you got back, if you can create short fields for somebody like a DJ Lagway with all those wide receivers, I mean, this offense with the defense, if the defense continues the way that it plays, you can score a lot of points. And people don't understand that. It's like, even if your offense, when they have to go the whole field, averages 26 points, what happens when your defense is creating a couple turnovers per game or a turnover or two that's going to give you a short field and you can score off that? then you're talking about your average going into the 30, mid 30s, things like that. And I think Florida can reach that. I think Florida can actually naturally, I think with Lagway, if he stays healthy, Florida can average into those 30s. If you get turnovers, if it goes to mid 30s and you're holding teams to 18, 19 points per game, I mean, like I said at the beginning of the show, you're going to win a lot of football games. Now, are you going to win every football game? I don't know, because the slate and the schedule that you have has a lot of talented teams. There's a lot of teams like the Texases, the Georgias, the LSUs that have recruited in the top 5 every single year, or top 3. LSU just got off a run in the portal, but having the number 1 portal class on top of that, that's going to be a hard schedule. Now you do have your I'm going to get crap for this for Miami fans. Now you have your less talented teams. Miami's going to be a less talented team than LSU, Georgia, and Texas. We all know that. They don't recruit on the level that they do. Like I would put I'm putting us underneath them too. We don't recruit on the levels that they do right now. We're close, but we're not there yet. Those are the teams you really got to like hunker down and look at your schedule with. Like I was talking about this on the show. It said what win was more important to Florida Gator fans. A lot of them pointed to Miami, basically probably because their fans are on X and social media talking crap. But does that game really matter if you lose it? Even if you lose it again, like I don't want to say you lose it again, but you beat a Texas, or you beat a Georgia, or you beat LSU Texas, or a combination of LSU Georgia or Texas Georgia. You're not really going to care about that Miami loss anymore.
Right.
You're probably sailing on your way to a playoff. And if you get to the playoff and you win a couple playoff games, or you win the whole thing, that Miami loss ain't even going to matter. So it's like, what games really matter? The ones that I particularly think matters, and I think it's always matter, it is a game near and dear to my heart. It's the Georgia game. You beat Georgia. I mean, they're already spanking you in recruiting. They pretty much take anybody they want from you if they're trying to flip it, for the most part. Sometimes we've been able to hold on. But you beat Georgia, and you beat another team that's in that top 5. That's going to help you in recruiting. That's also going to help you with a lot of other things outside of what you do in football. It's going to turn a lot of heads. It would turn more heads for you to beat Georgia than it would be to beat a Texas, or to beat a Miami, or to beat an LSU. I think Georgia's the big game that you got to win. You go back to last year, you had Georgia on the ropes. Unfortunately, DJ Lagway goes down. It was 10-0, I believe, when he went down. And you think to yourself, like, what would have happened if Lagway played that whole game? Even if he would have threw a turnover or two, like, what would have happened? I mean, you throw a turnover, maybe they score 7 points. Maybe they even tie the game. But what would have happened in that third and fourth quarter when you had Aiden Warner in there? And you even scored a touchdown with Aiden Warner. So it was like, what would have happened if Lagway was in that game? I think a lot of Florida Gator fans, especially me, are one of those ones asking that question. And then you look at some of the games that you had last year against Tennessee. That game was pretty close. It came down to the wire. Now, they don't have the same quarterback situation anymore, we all know. That game came down to the wire. What if you win that one? What if you pulled off Georgia? You would have been in a playoff last year. Exactly. And now you go into this season, you're like, man, if we can keep Lagway healthy and we can get this team running on all cylinders, we can win a lot of football games. And I think that's why you're seeing a lot of preseason guys having Florida. I mean, you see some votes for a playoff for Florida, not from everybody, but from some. You see a lot of these players on the preseason, number 1 draft picks, all these AP stuff. I mean, you see all the preseason hype for Caleb Banks, Jake Slaughter, Tyreek Sapp, Austin Barber. You see all that kind of stuff everywhere. You see where the media has kind of bought into DJ Lagway. They've kind of bought into the Florida offense and the Florida team. As I said, now you got to put it all together.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing I think I keep, and I hate to do it with that was a good loss. I can't get behind that. But
we're good.
my cousin was at the Florida Georgia game last year and this past season, and he said, and I think it's just so hard again, because it's what you said, it's the box score, and it's, these box score warriors, and they love to look at this and like, oh, well, you lost. And it's like, yeah. But there's a thing called momentum, and there's energy is a real thing when it comes to the football field, where it's like, any of them said it, when DJ's out there, what's happening? Everybody is there. They just feel like, okay, we have a leader out here. And it's no knock, like I said, on Aiden Warner. He can throw the ball around, but he's not DJ. So when he goes down, my cousin said being there, he's like, the whole energy, he texted me, he's like, everything just deflated here. The cart's out on the field. So now you think the players are going to be right back. It's just, I just don't get it, where I understand the hype. That's where I'm coming from. So I'm like, we watched these games. We saw. Do I think that Lagway should have started the season and played against Miami? No, I don't think that because of him being a true freshman. And there's a learning curve there. And that's the great thing about Graham Mertz. Is he going to go be some Hall of Fame NFL quarterback? No. But what he was that maturity in the locker room that took Lagway in, because he could have been, whatever about it. He could have pushed back. He could have did what Brett Favre did to Aaron Rodgers when he came in. Like, I don't have to help him. I don't want to help him. Or he could have just completely pushed him off. Instead, he took him in. And I think we are going to see the benefits of that, because maturity is a huge thing. When you like mix the maturity with the talent that Lagway brings out there, I don't know. It's like I said, I'm full on drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like when you're a head coach and you have a true freshman quarterback and he just gets into the system, just gets into college, and you have a starting quarterback that's been there. He's been in college for like 5 or 6 years, and he's been your starting quarterback since last year. It's kind of hard to just say, oh yeah, we're going to put a true freshman in week 1 against a top 10 team. I mean, you're not going to do that. That's just you're not going to take the risk anyway, I would say. Now, we did see some good things when Lagway came into that game week 1. I think he drove it down the field for a touchdown. He did throw a pick. It was a deflected pick, so was the pick really on him or not, or was it just a good play by the defensive lineman? I think that's what it was. But you've seen where he was driving the football down the field. We didn't see that all game. Now, that could have been was Miami playing. They already knew they won the game. Were they playing a little bit off? And you question that, but then you look at their defense the rest of the year, and you're just like, oh, Lagway made plays when he came on on the field. But yeah, I mean, as far as just trusting a true freshman quarterback, it's kind of hard on a head coach to do that, just based on the fact that you had the starter and he's been playing and he won you, I guess, also. He didn't win a lot of games last year, but he got you in clutch moments to win some of these games. Right. And you're just going to just throw him to the side and be like, okay, you're not starting week 1 against this team, and that's it. But I did hear before the game that we were going to see a little bit of Lagway, but unfortunately we didn't get to see that till Graham Mertz got hurt and got knocked out of the game. So now you're going to see a full slate of DJ Lagway. So I think that's what gets most Gator fans excited, just based on the fact that the way we ended the season and coming into this season. The only thing that really I'm looking for, I look out for with DJ Lagway is the fact of him getting hurt, right? We heard about the injury he had last year to his leg. He played on one leg, and he did very well doing that. Then you hear about the shoulder. Then you hear about all sorts of other things, the hernia. Now it's the calf. It's like, a lot of people, I won't ever say a player's made out of glass, because a lot of players get nicked up and they get hurt. And I think in this instance, just because DJ Lagway is the starting quarterback, it's making big news just because all eyes are on DJ Lagway. If this was a different player on the team that was a wide receiver or something, we heard about Eugene, we heard about Aiden, but it wasn't a big deal, right? Now they're back in non-contact jerseys. They're out there. They're practicing. You hear about Wilson. He's a big-time player. I mean, you heard about the cast thing and everything like that, it is a minor thing, luckily, but the bigger name that you are, the more they're going to emphasize whatever happens to you. And I think it's been dragged out a little bit. And I think it's just been over exaggerated, some of the things that has happened to DJ in this camp. Because when Mark Long had said that he needed shoulder surgery or whatever, I immediately we had his quarterback coach on like the very next week, and he's like, dude, he's been throwing in our quarterback camp, right? And everybody's like, well, we don't have any video. We don't know. Finally, video surfaces, but it's like we were telling you guys, like he literally was texting me like he was just throwing yesterday. Like he's fine. It's like the media will overblow something, especially if it's a starting quarterback. I mean, look what happened to Nuss. They were saying that he tore his ACL. Come to find out, he never did tear his ACL. It might have been a bad injury, but it's not something that's season ending.
Right. I'll say this real quick with the Lagway thing, because you're right. The media is going to get their clicks. Yeah. No matter what. I mean, even you doing a podcast, me doing a podcast, we don't want. The thing is with me though, and I watched Hightop forever. No false clicks. You know what I mean? And that's what they're doing is they're grabbing a hold of something and they're saying, well, this and that about him. When I had Cody on, we talked about this, and it's the biggest thing that I think that there's a misunderstanding is that a lot of the fans are got two sides here. It's either DJ's 100% healthy or he's season ending. And it's like, you can be hurt. I promise you. Put on shoulder pads, put on a helmet, and you go run into another grown man at full speed and hit each other. I promise you, you're going to end up hurt too.
Yeah.
But it's, are you injured? Because if you're injured, that means you can't play. You cannot, if you have, ligament tears, breaks, okay, that's severe. But we watched him get hurt last year, still came back. And in all reality, I just don't see him with the stallions that we have at running back. I don't see him needing to run the ball a lot. Okay. We watched Shador play for Cleveland the other night. What did he do when he needed to get out of the pocket, run for 4 or 5 yards, pick up the first down, keep it moving? If that's what he has to do, fine. And I'm cool with him running the ball. Now, again, we do know that there is problems. We know that he suffers with a couple of things. So tell him, hey, you played baseball. I'm sure that you've rounded first and had to slide going into second or slide going into third, whatever. Do that. Get down and stop. You don't have to make too much out of it because you have such, it's not the Cam Newton Auburn Tigers where he's got nobodies out there. He's got, this is a full arsenal of weapons and it's deep. So you don't got to make it happen like that. Maybe you do have to do a pretty big run against an LSU. Maybe you do have to do a big run against a Texas, one of those two things. But if he's not injured and he's just hurt, I'm fine because I saw him play hurt and we did all right.
Yeah. Like it reminds me of the Kentucky game when he came in and he was running and making plays. There was a couple of plays where you saw where he slid and didn't take the hit and just pointed to the first down marker, got it and kept going. I think, I think that's what really going to set him apart from like a lot of other dual threat quarterbacks that we have. Like when you look at Lagway, yes, he's 250 pounds, right? But he's not, let's not act like he has the frame of a Cam Newton or a Tim Tebow. Like Tim Tebow was a brick solid frame. Like that dude he was going to blitz you and hit you. Like he was blitzing the defensive line. The defensive line wasn't blitzing him. You just have those quarterbacks that just have those big frames that are just beasts that work out all the time. Like Lagway, he's big. He's got a decent frame, but let's not act like he's got a frame of a Tebow or a Newton. Like he's not going to be running people over like that. Right. I will say that he does have a big enough frame to break tackles if he's running, but I don't think he's going to be that guy that's going to lower his head and run somebody over and truck a DB down for a first down. I think he's going to be the guy that's going to get you, like you said, those extra 3 to 5 yards for the first down, slide, and then play the next play, hand it off to your guys, your Jacoby Jacksons, your Jaden Boss, those types of guys. And I think with this option offense, you have plenty of you have more, I guess, options in an option offense with a dual threat quarterback. You can fake a run, option it off to a running back. We saw that happen in the LSU game. That was eating them up quite a bit. We saw that big run from Jaden Ball. That was an option toss right to the end zone. I think you'll see a lot more of that just based on the fact that now defenses have to account for a running quarterback. They're going to have to bring their safeties up. They're going to have to bring their linebackers up. And does that open up the backfield for these wide receivers? I think with this defense or with this offense and the way that you have it running, if you can run this RPO like in a smooth transitional way, well, hopefully Napier can do that. We know how he is with play calling sometimes. If you can run it smoothly with a dual threat quarterback, you can really take the top off of defenses with the skill talent that you have at wide receiver in the backfield.
Right. You put an Aiden Mizell on a go route, and then they're also having to worry about, okay, is Lagway going to roll to the right, to the left? Is he going to take off? That's the thing about this offense is just how much is around there. But you got the Mizells that can take the top off. J. Michael can take the top off. It's just they're very dynamic to the point that now, again, is Billy going to dial that play up? I want to see more plays like the touchdown in the Georgia game. Dial that up, make that defense stay true. Okay, you back them up. Now you want to run the ball? Go ahead. Have those, the DBs playing back and hand it off to a ball, hand it off to a Jackson. Okay, now let's see how this works. That's, what I want to see. I want to see it dial it up more instead of 3rd and 4 and we're doing an end around, to to Wilson. I don't want to see that.
Yeah,
I want
I
to
mean,
see this
well,
offense.
now you have the speed to be able to get away with some of that stuff.
True.
Before you didn't. Like Xavier Henderson wasn't exactly accelerating and taking off for a first down
That's true.
if you ran him, but if you ran like a sideline pass, had him go up there. But like now teams have to account. Okay, well, is it going to be play action? Is he going to fake it to the running back? Is he going to take it off? Is he going to give it to the running back?
Mhm.
Is it going to be a slant? Is it going to be an option toss? Like you just don't know. The offense runs well when you have skill players, and that's why I've always been a big fan of recruiting. If you recruit speed and you recruit high level star players in a skill level position like wide receiver, like running back, I mean, you can really take the top off of defenses, especially in these big spread or these RPO offenses. And I think that works when you have the skill level talent. A lot of these teams try to run these offenses, but they don't really have fast receivers, and
Right.
it just doesn't work. And I think with what you have and what Napier has recruited at wide receiver and some of the speed, I think a lot of people forget. I mean, we've got a kid running a 4.25 on the team by the name of Jure Hawkins. I mean,
Right.
could you imagine running a sweep with that guy? Like at least to get down 4 or 5 yards down the field. If you can trick a defense and get him in a wide open spot on a speed sweep, like he's going to go off to take it to the house. And I think that's the biggest difference between skill level talent. A lot of those young kids, especially at wide receiver and corner, you can come in as a true freshman and make plays. We've seen it happen with Vernon Hargraves coming in as a corner, Tease Tabor coming in as a 5-star corner. We've seen 5-star wide receivers come in as freshmen. I'm not going to compare any of these guys to Jeremiah Smith because he's just a monster. But like we've seen 5-star receivers that were really good come in and immediately start making impacts and making plays. And at those skill level positions where you can get in open fields, those are what is the biggest advantage for true freshmen is those skill level open field type of positions like wide receiver and like corner that you can really make plays. Even at safety, you can make plays coming in as a true freshman. And I think Florida, if they can put together what we think they can put together on offense in this RPO, like they can really, take it up a notch. I mean, when Napier got here, did you see the roster of wide receivers that he had when Napier first got here?
Oh, I know.
And that's no slack to a lot of those guys on there because Ricky Pearsall wound up, but that was a Napier transfer. That wasn't even a Mullen guy. That was a Napier transfer. He wound up being the best receiver. Then you had Justin Shorter, who was your heavier wide receiver, a lot bigger. He's going to win you a lot more 50-50 battles. Ran a 4.5, 4.6 or so. Was a former 5-star, but let's be honest, he wasn't taking the top off on defenses. Now we have guys that have elite speed, elite size that can do that. And I think that's what was missing from Napier's offense. And look, as I said, if he can't put it together this year, especially if Flagway stays healthy and most of that team stays healthy, you got to question now, will Napier be able to even put it together to begin with?
Exactly.
This is the most talent he's going to have, bar none, probably in his career that he's ever been a head coach. I mean, we go back to Louisiana Lafayette. He was recruiting number 1 and number 2 classes in that conference. And, a lot of his games were close. And you're just like, okay, well, you had all that talent. These games were still close, but this is a different type of level. This is the SEC. He's recruiting more higher level skilled players, but you're also against more higher level skilled players.
Right.
Can he pull it off with the guys that are running these 4.4s, these 4.3s, the Jure Hawkins running the 4.2s? Can he put all that together in the SEC? I think that's the biggest question that a lot of Gator fans are asking themselves now because he has all the pieces. Like he has all the pieces right now.
He doesn't get the excuse, well, he's got to get his guys. No, you got your guys now. And you got them to a deep, extent. So with that, I want to know, we've talked about the team as a whole. We've talked about, I want to know who we'll do an offense and a defense. Who is your breakout player on each side this season?
Complete breakout. Like just...
I guess it doesn't have to be a complete
players, or is it breakout? Just breakout's going to have a big year.
Just biggest impact for us as a whole. I mean, even if they are just making impact on the team, I just want to know who you think is going to be at the end of the year. We're going to go, okay, like that guy.
I have like 3 guys on defense.
I know it's hard. It's hard because
So I'll tell you my 3 guys, and I'll tell you my number 1 guy at all 3.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay, so I had George Gums as one of them. I had Aaron Gates as the other one, and I have Tyreek Sapp as the other one. I'm picking Tyreek Sapp number 1. He came in last year, and like we said, the defense playing a different type of. I guess they're playing the same scheme, but they were playing a different type of playbook. Things weren't coming together as much, and I told you the story about how the players went to Napier. They changed the defense, simplified a lot more. Then you started seeing everybody come together and playing a lot harder. I mean, Tyreek Sapp towards the half, didn't really play that well at the beginning of the year. Towards the half, it had 7.5 sacks, almost 8. I expect double digits from him if he keeps on doing what he's been doing. We heard about his gains in the weight room. He gained 60 pounds on his bench. I think he gained a lot more on his squat. I mean, he's put on a lot of muscle, and it's his senior year. He wants to go to the NFL. I'm picking Tyreek Sapp as my number one guy on defense because I think he's just been so disruptive when he's been in the game. Even when we were struggling, you were seeing Sapp almost getting penetration on the quarterback, just not quite getting there. And then towards the half the season, he was getting to the quarterback. I think Tyreek Sapp has taken that next step. He's improved his body. He's improved his mass. He's improved his strength. And I think Tyreek Sapp is going to get double-digit sacks this year. I have him as my defensive guy. Offense, it would be easy. I could pick Lagway.
Right.
I could pick Dallas Wilson, Lagway. But I think a guy that a lot of people aren't really particularly talking about, and I have to give a shout out to his dad, Will. I'm going to go Aiden Mazzell. I think when Aiden Mazzell has been in the game, you look at the Mississippi State game where he broke like 8 tackles. I can't even remember how many tackles he broke. Took it to the house. Didn't count because there was a flag. I think there was a blocking back, something like that. It got flagged back, but that didn't take away from what he did, right? You go to the Georgia game where Lagway's, drops back on the play action. He's wide open. I mean, and he zips past these DBs. They didn't even know what hit him. Like, he's got track speed. I mean, this kid was a top 100, top 50 wide receiver on some people's boards during his recruiting year. You've seen flashes of Aiden Mazzell when he's been in the game. Now, has he continuously been in the game as a starter? No, he's kind of switched between wide receivers. He go in and out. But when he's been in the game, he's made plays. And I think Aiden Mazzell's going to be that guy that will eventually take Florida over the top. Now, I know that there's the Dallas Wilsons. I know that there's the Eugene Wilsons. I know that there's the Sturdivants. But I think Aiden Mazzell's going to surprise a lot of people this year, and he's going to be my guy on offense.
Yeah, the Aiden Mazzell, I think a big thing comes into it as well is just a quarterback wide receiver kind of connection. Because even with Eugene Wilson, he played so much better when Lagway was in. Like, and I get it at Samford, but watching him play that game, I was like, oh, they got a connection. Like, they just can find each other. It's no matter who you're playing against, you got to be able to put the ball in a spot. And I think that you could see, I mean, personally, Mazzell might end up being Lagway's guy because he likes the way he plays better. As for my breakouts, I think it's Cormani on defense. I just feel like something big is coming for him. And for some reason, I feel like as long as he gets opportunities, KD Daniels at running back. Yeah. I can just see it.
I was a big fan of him at high school.
I want to see, again, I think all of it boils down to, I think that Billy's just got to take the chains off. He's going to have to just, whatever, if he's got a play out there, I mean, top to bottom, try them all at this point. Because I don't believe that he's number one on the hot seat, like that list that came out and you had, different coaches.
Not to me.
Yeah, I don't think he's number one on there. Not the way he ended the season.
If he wins 6 or 7 games this year, I guarantee you he's coming back. They're not going to fire him.
Right, because they're going to want to keep DJ around, but...
And he has a good relationship with the administration, everybody there. Too. I don't think now if the wheels just completely fall off, then yeah, you could probably see him going. But I don't foresee the wheels falling off on this team, even if there's a substantial amount of injuries.
Yeah, I just think it's top to bottom. It's so talented. It is such an extremely talented team, and that's where I'm not. Again, those are my childhood days, like the 06, the 08. Like, I didn't childhood, my high school days was 08. But to watch those teams, you knew with those squads, I bring this up and people think that I'm saying that this is that they're just like the 08 team. I'm like, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm bringing up is the fact that if someone does go down, I would love our team to 100% be healthy from LIU to the end, at the last snap of the national championship game, and we're the winners. I'd be perfectly, I'll be obnoxious. Right. But that's not likely in football. So the great thing about this team is where it's like the last seasons when someone got hurt, you didn't even see, there was just no depth. Whereas now there's so much, and we didn't even talk on defense about like Aaron Gates. I
Yeah.
think that he's going to be another one who he just flies around. You put him anywhere. I mean, he could probably, play defensive line if he wants to.
Yeah, and look, I talk to a lot of people like Nick, Cam, who cover Florida, like SI, Nick, who's at Florida Victorious now. Like, they've told me that Aaron Gates does not look like he has ever come off of ACL injury. Like, he's still flying. Like, so that's a good sign. That's a good sign to hear that, because a lot of those players, when they get like an ACL tear or a big time injury like that, they don't come back the same. Sometimes they don't. Now, technology's advanced. The surgeries don't last as long. Young kids recover way faster than older people like us. And that, I don't know how they've done it with technology. It's amazing because I see people recover from ACL surgeries like really fast.
Super fast.
And I just attribute it to them being young and they can repair quicker than most older people. But I remember back in the day, you tear an ACL, you're out for like the whole year. And I mean, like, obviously you're still going to be out the whole year, but you're not going to recover as fast. Like, it takes a while. And then you don't come back the same most of the time. But we've even seen like injuries with like Nick Chubb. You remember the injury he had against Tennessee?
Right.
He thought he wasn't going to come back and be the same ever. He's still playing the NFL.
I don't get it.
Yeah. So it's like,
and it's happened to him multiple times. Like at Georgia, and then it's happened to him twice in the NFL now. I can't remember. Like, he's been hurt. Yeah, it really is unreal.
I'm not trying to sidetrack to NFL or Nick Chubb or anything, but like Aaron Gates has looked the same part as he's looked last year. I mean, he's up to speed. I think another player that was injured last year, now that a lot of people are thinking about, is Jamari Lyons. I mean, he was supposed to start last year, and he went down to a season-ending injury in practice. We've never heard his name ever since, and I think that's a name that people forget about as well, as coming back on that D line to either. I don't think he's necessarily going to start basically with the guys he's got in front of him, but I think he's going to be switching out with somebody on that defensive line this year too. And he was a big name that was coming into, and how did he recover? How's he up to speed with everything? I think that's another question you got to ask yourself too.
Right. Yeah. That's another good problem to have, is that defensive line, the rotation that can just, I mean, you can have healthy guys and you can have guys that are just refreshed, and you can just keep rotating. I don't think you should rotate too much. I think you got to keep your main guys in there, your Saps, your George Gums. He's another one that I think is going to be, nationally known by the end of this season.
It was hard for me to pick over him with Sap.
It is hard because I love his energy. Is just, I mean, he hits somebody and he jumps up screaming, and I'm screaming in my house. I'm like, dang, you got me feeling like I'm out here playing. Yeah. But so I didn't ask you this question at the beginning because we jumped right into it, but I got to ask this question, ask everybody else. Who is your favorite Gator of all time?
Favorite Gator of all time would be easy to say Tim Tebow. But God, let's see. There's so many of them. We just got done interviewing Chris Leak, and I've always liked Chris Leak. I still can't put him as like the number one. Like, it would have to be, oh God. It's going to sound cheesy and stupid, but I'm putting Steve Spurrier. Like, he is Gator personified as far as playing at the position, coaching, just his personality, what he's done at the University of Florida, the accolades. You cannot put somebody over the legendary Steve Spurrier right now. I just can't do it. I would have to go with Spurrier as my favorite Gator of all time. I grew up with him as a kid. I've watched him growing up. He never ceases to not have an entertaining interview.
He's always got something to say.
He's always got something to say. His name just speaks legendary anytime you say his name. Obviously, he's got a restaurant named after him as well, that down there at the Celebration Point in Gainesville. I would have to go Steve Spurrier as my all-time favorite Gator, just because of the legendary status that he holds. I don't think anybody can beat the accolades or the accomplishments that he's done, just not even as a player, but as a coach and just beyond that.
Right. I honestly think that's why, like, his energy, I think that's why the Lane Kiffin was such an interesting hire. Cause I think a lot of people that, if you're a deep Gators fan, even if you didn't grow up in like with watching Steve Spurrier and even watching him coach, things like that, you have heard about him. You see you see all of it when it comes to being a Gators fan. And Lane has kind of that about him, real offensive heavy guy, kind of.
It's like when you talk about baseball, you say Babe Ruth, everybody's heard about him.
Right.
Like, who's Babe Ruth? You may not know who it is, but you heard about him.
You know the name.
Right.
Same with Steve Spurrier. That's a really great pick because I think that we need a little bit of that almost. Yeah. I really wish I get it. I really do like that Billy's demeanor is real calm. I think that he brings a sense of every one of those players will go to war for him. But I kind of like a little bit of cockiness in there. I like throw some F-bombs in there and let's get everybody riled up. And
I think Napier has that in him, but he just doesn't express it. Like,
right.
Like you go to that Florida State game and they asked him, he's like, did you have a cigar? And he was like, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he could have said something else and been more, I don't know if you call it arrogant or charismatic about it, but like, he's just that silent kind of guy. He's like the silent assassin. Like, he's not going to talk a lot. I mean, we saw the Netflix show that they had, and he said, look, you got to ignore the noise. Like,
right.
He does not concentrate on the noise. He doesn't, like, us talking about him, us wanting to see him be like that. He doesn't care.
Exactly. He does not care about what I'm saying on this podcast.
That's one of the things that I think I admire the most about Billy is the fact that he stays focused. He is laser focused, and he does not let the outside noise or anything bother him. Now, I will say he's had his flaws as a coach, calling plays. He's done some things that I wouldn't necessarily think jumps off the charts with me. And from a fan's perspective, you're irritated, right? He's irritated me a couple times. He's probably irritated everybody a couple times with some of the things that he's done. But at the end of the day, he's always remained laser focused. He's always been about improving. He's always, I think the biggest thing I respect about him now too, is the fact that he's willing to do things for his players. Right. And he's willing to adjust. And a lot of coaches have that ego and says, no, things are going to be my way. This is how we're going to do it. And you kind of see that from Napier, but you really don't either. You see him adjusting to what's going on in the game. And I think that's what, I'm not comparing him to Nick Saban. So don't say people, he's comparing Billy Napier to Nick Saban. No, I'm not. He's way out of Nick Saban's league right now. But I think that's what Nick Saban did as well, too, is he adjusted to college football. You remember Nick Saban coming out and saying, now it's starting to be more offensive heavy. I need to start getting more players offensively and calling a better scheme. And he's still winning national championships.
Right.
and he retired, but he was still winning national championships at the time. And I think, Napier's willing to be that guy to adjust, but is it going to be too much too late with Napier? Or is he going to finally be able to get over the hump? And, last year you had an 8-5 season, I guess, from a bowl perspective and a winning season standpoint, you got over that hump. Now it's time to win more than 8 games. Let's get into the playoff. Florida has not been in the playoff ever since it's been introduced. Right. We need to get over that hump. Can you recruit a top 5 class? We need to get over that hump. We haven't had a top 5 class since 2013. You look and I hate, like, I don't want to disparage our recruiting because I think at a skill level, it's improved drastically since Mullen at a lot of positions.
Right.
But a lot of the top teams that have won national championships have recruited in the top 5 or better on average. If you go by talent profile, you can look up their talent profiles on 247. They have a whole talent profiles thing. You go and you look at history now, a top 10 class in the SEC, and like nationally, a top 10 class is like ranked 6th or 7th in the SEC. Right. And that's the schedule you play. So is a top 10 class really that good? It's good, but it's not great. And you need to get there to that top 5. You get to a top 5, your team is sitting first, second, third, or fourth in the SEC. I think 4th is okay, but I think you really need to be at 3. But that's just my opinion. Everybody's opinions will vary. Now, if you have just a savant of a play caller on your offense, like an offensive coordinator, like a Dan Mullen-esque offensive coordinator, right? Dan Mullen with this talent could kill teams right now. But
he put 70 a week.
Yeah, he would put up at least 40 in a heavy defensive game. We don't have that, and I hate the comparison because look, Dan Mullen was a good offensive play caller, but what else did he do outside of that? Nothing really. Didn't really recruit that well. Defense declined when he got there. He did well with Jim McElwain's talent, but when
Yeah.
his talent took over, it fell off a cliff. I mean,
Right.
so it's like, is he a better coach for a lesser conference like a UNLV? It may work out for him there, and hats off to him if it does.
Yeah.
But you really in the SEC, you need the talent to win games because you're consistently playing skill level talent week in and week out. I think Napier's improved it. He's gotten it past the Mullen hump, but he needs to get it to an elite level. And I think this year, if he wins games, he gets into the playoff, he makes some noise. A lot of kids are going to be looking at Florida saying, man,
Right.
they're on an upward trajectory right now. Maybe I need to give them a look. And I think that'll improve your recruiting. Also, on top of that, I think more boosters would be willing to buy in more to the Florida football program and donate more to NIL to where we can get these players.
Right. Yeah, I think playoffs is, if we get to the playoffs, I'm going to say this, when we get to the playoffs this season, it is going to skyrocket recruiting. I just believe that because, again, it is hard to, obviously with the Texas Tech is, I don't know what their bank accounts look like, but golly, I mean, I put some shoulder pads on me and pay me to come over there and play something, golly, because there's throwing money around. But you have to get to a point where you show these high schoolers, or even some of the, I don't want to build in the transfer portal. I saw a stat that teams that added 9 or more players through the transfer portal have not won the national championship. And you look at, like in LSU, they added 18 this offseason. So I don't want to go build in that. I want to keep building through the high school rankings, but sometimes you do got to pick and plug into spots, but you got to show something. And I do think that we saw last year when we started winning at the end of the season, you get on that run and all of a sudden the media starts hyping Lagway and they start hyping the Gators. You start to see, okay, some recruits started turning around and we started boosting the class up.
Yeah.
But you can only do so much. You got to get to those 5 stars. You got to get more on there. You got to get, even if it's 3 or 4 or 5 stars that come per class, or, it's got to be more, and not borderline 5 stars. I'm talking 5 stars since sophomore, junior year. You got to get them in there. And I really believe that if we get to the playoffs, the sky's gonna be the limit. I think the top 5 class comes if we can do that. And some of these 3 stars get pushed out, 5 stars get pushed in, and we can get over that hump. That's me trying to be, as y'all say, a Disney Gator.
Yeah.
But because I can tend to be kind of negative.
I mean, you win a national championship, they're going to come anyway. But I think a lot of it has to do with NIL and money too, and booster buy-in. I think that's the biggest thing right now. You see, look at Texas Tech. Some boosters have just bought into Texas Tech so far, and we know Texas has all the money in the world.
Of course.
The state of Texas, lots of oil money there. I think their boosters are, I don't know what the coach or who talked to them or talked to their boosters and rallied them up, but I mean, they've already got like the number 1 player of the 2027 class. Now they got crystal ball to the number 1 offensive lineman in the 2027 class. Now it's early. Are those players really going to stick? Well, we don't know, or we don't find out, but just to see even Texas Tech making noise, a team that's not a prolific football program, and they're grabbing number 1 5 stars, like, you obviously know there's something there that those players are going for, and we all know it. It's not. I'm not going to disparage a kid for doing it. I'm just saying, like, we all know why they're going there. I mean, money talks, BS walks, right? That's the biggest thing in this NIL era now is at the end of the day, you can win a ton of games, but a lot of those players are gonna be like, show me the money. I want what I'm worth. And with wins comes booster buy-in. Does the boost is it good enough for the boosters if Napier makes it to a playoff and doesn't win the playoff, but makes it to a playoff? Is that good enough for some boosters to buy in and say, hey, look, let's get Lagway, hopefully in his last year because he's that good, some pieces around him to where we can do this run again and hopefully get over the hump and win that national championship. Or I'm not going to say that you can't do it this year. I'm never going to tell any team they can't do it because we don't know what's going to happen, right? But like, say you don't, and then is the boosters going to buy in next year to get good pieces around Lagway to try to go over that hump and not just get to the playoff, win the whole thing? I think that's the thing that you really got to ask yourself is like, with wins comes booster buy-in, but how many boosters buy in? How many boosters believe in Billy Napier? And
Exactly.
that's the big deal. And with wins, it can be very convincing, but
Mhm.
also at the same time, your athletic director, your administration, everybody's got to be on the same channel for that to happen. If your administration and your athletic director are backing you, yeah, you can have a top 5 class every year. But
Right.
unfortunately, we all know about the administration. A lot of people don't say good things about him. The athletic director, I'm not going to take a shot at him. I'm just not going to. We know what people
Mhm.
say about them online. Like, are you going to buy into the Florida football program? Or boosters going to buy in if Billy Napier makes it to a playoff? I think that's the biggest question you have to ask yourself.
Right. I think that's going to be the telltale. I think that this is the year. This is it. I don't, again, like you said, there's a lot of relationships that go on inside that building that
Yeah.
we know about, but also it's hard to defend. But how far do they let it go? Because they already did say they're going to, we're going to pull our money. You hear the rumblings, but
Hey, they'll pull
how
their money for a buyout, but they won't pull their money for NIL to get good players.
that's
I mean,
exactly. Yeah,
that makes no sense, but
it
whatever.
doesn't. And that's where I want to see it all come together. And I think that playoffs this year, I'm just going to be a positive Gator here. Playoffs this year, no matter what, even if it's a 9-3 playoff appearance, and even if it's a
We're
first round
Shelton. He'll,
exit,
he'll tell you 12-0, man. We're Shelton.
I'll tell you 12-0 as well. I'm not saying 9-3. I'm stating like if it happens, but I said until we lose the game, we're undefeated. That's all I know. So I'm going to say 12. I'll say 15-0 because we're going natty, and that's all there is to it. But I just, like you said, that's the biggest thing I've looked at is you
I
got
think
FSU.
I think even if you don't go perfect, you go 9-3. I still think you make a playoff going 9-3.
Me too. Yeah, me too.
So
We
let
got
me
to
ask
start
you
pulling in
this:
players.
I was on a show earlier on last week.
Okay.
They asked me because I think he was an LSU guy. He said, so if both teams go 9-3, but LSU wins the head-to-head, do you think LSU gets it over Florida? I said they could, depending on who they beat. And I said, I think also Florida could, even with LSU head-to-head beating them, depending on who Florida beats.
Mm-hmm.
If Florida beats Georgia and Texas and LSU beats them, and LSU just goes through their schedule and goes 9-3 too, do you really keep Florida out for beating Texas and Georgia?
Right.
I wouldn't put them out. I mean, those are 2 top 5 teams.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to look at LSU's resume too. Now they did win the head-to-head, but who did they beat on their schedule? There's a lot that goes into the decision making of that. Now they've expanded it, but I think 9-3 is good enough to even get you into the playoff. Even if you'd have to have a solid win in there, but I think if you have a solid win, 9-3, you get there.
Right. I think that when it comes to, here's my problem, because you watched this era, I watched the era of the BCS era, where it was a computer generated, like this is how it worked.
Yeah.
Now you have humans that sit around a table and there's opinions that go into that. It's not a database thing. It is and I like to think that they're going to be unbiased in there. Who knows? So I think that it kind of comes down to it. If it was to come down to that, I think it comes to what's going to bring in more views. Is LSU going to bring in more? Is Florida going to bring in more? How is the viewership going to go? That's the part that I kind of hate there. But again, you're right. But we have seen that they don't care in all reality. They won't put you in if they don't want to put you in. But if we go, it's going back to, like you said, if we lose to Miami, but if us losing to Miami means because we put it all out on that field in Death Valley to beat LSU at night in Baton Rouge, then we lose to Miami, and then you go the next week and we beat Texas, I can promise you the media is still going to hype us. They're not going to talk about the Miami loss. The only thing we're going to have to do is hear about it from the fans on X for the next 3 years for their national championship.
Yeah.
But
And they won't win an ACC championship still. So.
Yeah. I mean, it makes no sense. I went and watched their old quarterback play last night. Like you said, he didn't make it halftime or make it after halftime. So
yeah, he did. But he should have threw a pick, but
he should have thrown a pick. But I don't know. That's a hard one. I guess that didn't even cross my mind that what happens if I would hope again that schedule comes into play, because I don't see LSU's being ours, like what ours is. But
yeah, we have like the number one like difficult schedule. And then on like some lists, like if you go by like K Ford rankings and all that, we're like number 2. I think they had Arkansas number 1. But I mean, with the schedule that Florida played, are you really going to say, well, they won the head to head, put them over? I mean, that's a good question to ask. I mean, it really is. Like now,
No,
if they
that
go
is.
10-2 and we go 9-3, they're probably going to put LSU over us because they went 10-2. So
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, it's tough. Part of me, and I think that's where I can understand when they were talking about, well, let's put this many SEC teams in. But I just think you need to I'm tired of you won your conference, so you get in.
yeah.
I don't like that. I think it should be 1 through 12. So if you're
We saw that experiment didn't work out too well.
right. I mean, you got to, I'll be honest, even 1 through 16 is fine. However you got to do it, because a team such as like a Florida team this year, you're playing this tough schedule. And I mean, you got that stretch right there. That's just murder to row. So what do you do there where I don't know. I'm going to bank on that. If for some reason we're not going to go 9-3, we don't got to worry about this conversation, but
12-0, man.
12-0. So we don't got to worry about it, but it is a great question. But yeah, I don't know. We got to get, like you said, we got to get over the hump.
The good part is it's going to be an interesting season. You got a lot of storylines going into it. And you got Lenore Sellers of South Carolina, Nuss with what they got over at LSU. You got DJ Lagway. What does Stockton look like in his second year at Georgia? Alabama, you have question. I'm not going to say question marks at quarterback, but I mean, I would assume that, you've got your situation figured out at quarterback. Does the quarterback play project a little bit better this year than it did last year at Alabama? I mean, there's just a lot of storylines you can follow just for every team. What does Aguilar look like at Tennessee? I mean, Texas A&M, they've been quiet lately. They got a lot of talent. Did they get over the hump? I mean, there's just so many things that you could look at every single team in the SEC. With Pavia coming back at Vanderbilt, how big of a step did they take in his second year at Vanderbilt? I mean, there's so many things and so many storylines with each team, and every single team that's out there right now, which is crazy because I see it from fans on X. They all think they can win the SEC. So it's going to be interesting in the SEC this year. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's the whole thing top to bottom is just insane. I mean, sometimes I do wish that we played in that cupcake conference of the ACC, but we don't get that luxury. We actually play real big boy football over here. Shout out to Albert in the comments.
I'm shocked we play Long Island week 1. I mean,
that's another thing that is just crazy to think about is look at the game 1 since Billy's been here. Utah, Miami.
I'm telling you, USF's not a pushover either. They got some talented guys, and Golish has done a good job over there. There too. I mean, I don't think they're going to be like necessarily savants, or I think they're going to give some teams fits. Hopefully, it's not us, but USF is Alex Golish has done a good job over there with improving the talent level over there and development too. So I would put that USF game as one of those games. It's like, hey man, this could be competitive for a little bit, but
don't look past it.
Don't look past it.
Yeah. I could see that. I mean, they took Alabama to the wire, and so
couple years.
Yeah. Back-to-back seasons, right? They took Alabama to the wire. So it's not like you said, they're not some pushovers. They're obviously they got to come into the swamp, but do not be looking at going to Death Valley and get caught slipping week 2. That would be just absolutely horrible.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. Now, you lose in Death Valley and you beat Miami, I don't think any Florida fan will care anyway. So
no, because I mean, again, I'm not one to say like, oh, that's a good loss, but that Death Valley game is going to be. I mean, if we go in there and put it to them, that's going to tell me all. Like, if we go in there and really put it to LSU, I don't know what is the severity of Nuss's injury. Is it?
I've read that it's not an ACL tear. They did I guess scans. It was weird because you had people coming out saying that the injury wasn't an ACL. Then you had one saying they were, but then we find out it wasn't. But now they're not allowing viewing for their practice. So I think something happened to Nuss. I don't think it was like a major injury, like a season ending or anything, but I think it was a significant enough injury to where they don't want people to know about it. And if you don't want people to know about the injury and you're not letting certain media get there. Now, maybe they changed it. Maybe they let media in there or not. But if that's the case, they did not let media in there. I would assume that injury is more significant than maybe they put it out there. But I'm not going to say that it was season ending or anything, because if it was
Right.
season ending, they would have already just said it, because you're not going to throw off any team really if the guy can't play, right?
Right, exactly.
Just you might as well just say he's out for the season.
Right. Yeah, I don't know what I keep seeing. I just everything's back and forth on what it is, and I keep seeing about him. And obviously, that being an early season game, you wonder, like, is he gonna be good to go for that game? Is that I don't know what that looks like. I've just been hearing rumblings about it.
Right.
So I mean, time will tell. We'll see if he trots out there against Clemson. So you can't hide that.
They're going to be good too.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a fun football season. I am extremely excited. Also, Kenny, Florida going 9-3, and DJ's hurt. I unfortunately feel like we get that FSU treatment, and they won't put us in. Personally,
Yeah, if there's other 9-3 teams in the SEC, especially, it just depends on what happens. Like, yeah, if Lagway were to go down, like, I could see them probably not putting us in, like they did with Florida State. I wouldn't be upset with it, because I'd be like, yeah, that's a big drop off in quarterback. I would be able to understand why they didn't. But of course, you're a fan of the team. You're going to be irritated if they don't put you in there anyway. But like, I would be like, okay, whatever. I'm not going to sue the committee though. But
no, yeah, you're not going to hear me sit here and cry about it for multiple seasons, and especially after going through a 2-10 season. But
it's like we still hear about 41-17. Yet we won a national championship in basketball. We don't even talk about it that much. And less than 3 weeks away of playing Notre Dame in week 1 in 2025, but you're still talking about week 1 in 2024.
Dude, I know. Trust me. That's all I hear about. I got an uncle who is a Miami Hurricanes fan. I'm like, come on, guys, let's be real here. This isn't, he at least doesn't, rep it as much.
I'm going to be annoying for one day, and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't care. We should beat Miami. So
exactly. But it's just, you got to give them something. I mean, golly, they finally have something to talk about that isn't from when I was single digits years old, so
I think their last bowl win was like 2016 or something.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, the last thing they had to talk about before this was a turnover chain, and so what are we doing?
And Mario Cristobal said, "Get that out of here."
Exactly. He took the one thing that they had that the media grabbed a hold of, and he was like, "No, we're gonna get rid of that."
He's like, "No, that's stupid."
It's mind blowing, dude. Well, I'll let you get off here. I won't keep you too long. I appreciate you coming on with me. Appreciate everybody in here hanging out, even the Miami fan that wanted to come kick it with some Gators fans. We love it. But yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I mean, come on. I mean, that we run Hightop, and we have multiple Georgia, Miami fans, Tennessee fans. I mean, they're all in there. They're all in the chat. So if you want to come make fun of me, and like I think JT did, like all night, go in there. Make all the short jokes you want.
Make it fun. I mean, I'm all for it. I like it. I love the trolling. That's why I get on X. I sit there and read through all y'all stuff, and I'm like,
I don't take it as seriously as a lot of those people do. Like, there's if there's one secret, like a lot of people don't know about me, I don't even take that stuff serious. I'm just joking. They get severely mad. Like they don't like that kind of stuff. But if you ever see me and I'm like making fun of an opposing team, it's not that serious. I'm not that important to worry about.
So. It just makes it fun. That's how I like it. Troll a little bit. I'll tell FSU fans it is still fun to say, like, they want to talk crap, and I'll give you 2-10 reasons why.
I met a lot of cool Miami fans that way. Like, I talked to a bunch of Miami fans. They're cool as heck. I talk to them all the time in chats and stuff.
Right. Yeah. You got a lot of the cool fans, but you got a lot of fans that just really take it to heart and they get real sour about it. But yeah, let everybody know where they can find you. There's about 42 strong right now.
Yeah, you can follow me at Hightop Dave on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. You can also follow the show Hightop Sports on YouTube. We have a website, hightopsport.com. We couldn't get hightopsports.com because it was already taken. So hightopsport.com. We also have a shop there too. If you like these tees, like Spot the Ball, you can find those on the website too. And you can call into our call-in show. I don't know the number off the top of my head because we just made the number, and we post the call-in show just about every Wednesday. I'll post the number out there, and people will call in and leave voicemails there too. But as you said, you follow me at Hightop Dave on X. I have a link tree posted on my profile that has the links to everything else that I have on social media. So just ready for the season, man. I'm ready for week 1, ready to tailgate, man. It's going to be fun.
Ready to go. So you are going to be there week 1?
I will be there week 1.
Cool. Yeah, we're going to be out there too, taking my son to his first game. So it's going to be.
I'll see you up there, man.
Yeah, we got to get together up there. It's going to be a blast. But yeah, I really do appreciate you coming through. Like I said, everybody go follow him and subscribe to Hightop Sports. They've been great to me, so everyone go hit them up. So I appreciate it, guys. Thank y'all. And if you ain't a Gator, y'all know the rest.
Gator bait.